Yo, what's up guys? More Siege, last video of this year, last Siege of this year as well. Which means we gotta go out with a banger. And I've been talking about making this video for quite a while already. And that was actually back in the time where I only had 9 LD5s, when I had 9 LD5s saying like, okay, I want to make a video when I have 10 LD5s of using an LD5 in every single team. The moment that I started this siege, and this is a little bit longer of a clip, this is me at the start of the siege, just checking what I want to hit and that kind of stuff. Like I've been saying, I'm doing a lot of the hits early on and that kind of stuff. And then, so we got a whole clip of that, but it's just 7 minutes and I go in with a lot of these hits. But when I started this siege, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to go for this idea. And therefore I used some of my siege hits that don't have LD5s. But at some point I was to the ideas like, I still wanted to do that video of using all of my LD5s in Siege. So for that reason, at this Siege, I was at some point like, okay, I'm gonna force in all of my LD5s. So that includes the LD5s that I normally do not use for Siege at all. Like the Gianna, like the Seimei, not that much. Well, she's kind of good in Siege, but also you have to fight like specific metas. It's very good against like Rikas and stuff, but very bad against like the Kiklet Mien kind of thing. So doesn't always fit in, but at some point I came to the conclusion I'm gonna use all of my LD5s that I have. So currently I just use the Grogan. With just using the Grogan, I still have to use 11 more because currently I own 12 LD5s. The idea came from when I had 9 LD5s, like, oh, I can finally, when I pulled my 10th, the light pony, I was like, oh, I can finally use my, or all my LD5s in Siege, or all 10. That was the main idea. So then came the idea like I'm gonna use all 10 LD5s and each one in an individual team kind of stuff. But at that moment when I had that idea, pretty soon after I pulled number 11 and number 12. Never actually made the video on saying like, okay, I'm gonna use all of them. But in this video, this is going to be the case. So this is number 2, that's the Maximilian. Maximilian is always used in Siege. It's one of the better Siege units out there, I would say. Siege offense, definitely. Siege defense, maybe a little bit worse. It also kind of depends like how well he hits, if he lands that armor break early on or not. But in this case, it was all the Amber pretty much clearing up this whole team, doing a lot of damage. Amber damage is always the thing, like, do you go for 2 hits or 3 hits? And the damage difference between that is like really a world of difference. So yeah, that's not always the most chill, but if she hits, she definitely does hit. And that heal block definitely does help a lot as well. Searching on for the next hit. Well, we had a lot of those. Like, they had a full tower of this. I could have soloed the whole tower of this. That could definitely be a thing as well. But yeah, this is just me searching for my siege hits, like an early siege. This is like the first few minutes of siege going in. It's always super chill for me if these things do not have any will runes, because then it's just the easiest thing out there to absorb everything with the robo. And these days I'm using more Tianas. I do have 3 Tianas right now, so I can definitely add in a few more Tianas if I have to. But yeah, it's not really always needed. The one unit I currently kind of want for Siege is a second Pure Vanilla, because I have a second Sonya already. The moment I get a second Pure Vanilla, it might be the unit that I might go for in the Choice LD5, or not the Choice LD5, the Choice Net 5 thing that we have next year. We have that event coming up where you summon 10 net 5s and then you can choose one of them. If I get one of the pure vanillas, that's probably the choice that I will go for. For what I recommend you guys for a choice, I will be making a video of that in the next year, of doing a tier list of all elemental normal units, or all elemental net 5 units. And with that, you can actually use that to see like, okay, which units do I already have? And I'm also going to include like, okay, where do you use those units? What kind of builds and all of that kind of stuff. I made that video last year as well, but I'm going to do an updated version of that in January. So using my Ian is also always used in Siege. It's very specifically just a Siege unit. It's not really good anywhere else than Siege. I will try to use it next year in some RTA as well. I am planning to rune it similarly as I ruined the Fire Cast. But for me, the first idea was like, yeah, I can rune it as Firecast, but Firecast is better. However, there are certain drafts you can actually lock in both in the 4 and the 5 slot. So he will be locked in the moment that I will use it next with the Firecast. So Firecast sometimes is a must ban, but if you bring 2 kind of Firecasts, can you ban one of them? So that's kind of the idea that I have with Ian for next year, for placing him into RTA. Is he going to be used much? No, it's probably like once in 100 matches or something like that. But it's going to be fun against those ragdoll kind of things and still on the double Nem will kind of style. Are there more matches into this clip? I think I had one more. Yeah, just a Feng Yang hit. Well, since we're not really caring about anything non-LD right now, we're just gonna skip through this a little bit. Oh, this is actually a funny one. No wait, we're actually gonna watch this. Because my Leo decided to leave the battlefield. And I was like, can I still win this with just the Feng Yang? And that's why my Feng Yang has a little bit of speed. Just for this bad reason. Also, you shouldn't use a Leo into a Thessarion. Neither for this, but what does? So I was like, yeah, this does look a little bit bad. That's lucky that that skill went on the right side, not on the left side. And then he starts countering and nearly killing himself. But he's nearly dead, not fully dead. That's also not helping. And then there's another shield, and that shield is a lot. So can we kill on the counter? Yep, we finally kill. So after that, you know how it goes. After that, it's just like, yay, Feng Yang going multiple times, easy. It's just Feng Yang is so broken, man. I do have this team 2 times right now, or 3 times. No, I miss a third Feng Yang. I have 2 Feng Yangs, not a third Feng Yang yet. I do have a third Alaya and a third Leo already, I think. So from this point onward, I have to use all of my other LDs, which is quite some LDs still out there. So in this case, going in for the Sienna. Sienna is definitely usable in Siege. I've been using it quite some in Siege here and there. And with a team like this, is it really a good Siege offense for it? Not really. Like normally I used to use it with like an Iris and a, what's it called? Iris Zhongsheng Lao. It's probably a better offense than this. Yeah, probably is. But these are just these bruiser fights. I can get away with that if people go like the Theomars Perna fights, because then it's just room quality checking. It's not really mattering too much what kind of units are good on this, but it's just room quality checking, to be honest. Next fight, I had to fit in the Seimei, and the Seimei was more of the tricky ones out there where I was like, where the hell can I fit in Seimei in the current meta? Because there's not really, if you have like a meta where there's a lot of Noras on defense, it is somewhat working, but in this case not that great. Actually, I misplayed in here. I should have used S2 on the Belial, because I need Belial to die. And the thing is, there will be a constant armor break on this Seimei. Seimei is 100 res. So in this case, I went for that S2, and the S2 I use here not to kill, but I use to draw attention. And the drawing of attention makes it, or hopefully makes it, that they start hitting on the right, which they did in this case. So not using that S2 there not to kill necessarily was actually the... yeah, I just have to lower HP. And in certain teams like that, it's actually the better play to go for an S2 right away. Waste the skill, but have the unit dead. And in this case, I was like, yeah, Seimei was very useful. The LD5 did very good in this team. But now we're in the issue situation where I normally totally do not use this kind of team against the opposite team that I'm fighting right now. But I was like, how can I actually clear this still? Well, the thing is, you have a very freaking tanky with a high recovery S3 artifact on the Camilla. You have Camilla, of course, skilled up where her S2 is on low cooldown, so you have the freeze all the time, or as much as possible at least. And we just try to survive. That's the main thing. Hopefully these things don't proc too much. They always crit. Well, the odds of them not critting is kind of small. Like, even if they go full 15 crit rate on these units, which I don't really expect them to be, it is still hard to not crit with that many multi-hits as they have. So yeah, that's we're 12 turns away from getting the right skills. So if they proc a few times, they actually made the HP pretty low, but every time they proc, I'm still kind of okay. Good proc on my side, I use 6.2k healers, can absolutely use those. And in this case, we get the unit back and we finally can go for Madness Judgment, and then it's a GG on that one. Also, a thing here in this fight, something you absolutely do not want to do, is you want to kill the Martina first. Because if you kill the Martina first right now, you're gonna really struggle against this thing. Because you can destroy some HP, but you can't full destroy his HP. So the moment that you have to fight this thing, it could end up in a draw, and you don't have a draw in Siege. And for that reason, you will end up in a lose. So yeah, definitely not something I recommend you to go for, but yeah, this was my only fit that I could fit in for the Siege currently, that I was like, yeah, I gotta fit in my Seimei somewhere, but this was absolutely a worse team for, or a bad team for Seimei to be in. she's way better in those teams against Nora. I think Nora and Kiki, those are the most common things, but the enemies didn't have any Kikis as far as I remember, and they didn't really use Noras either. So fitting in the same was like the hardest in this case. So that's why I also still have a lot of LDs left, but only use that one over there. So in this case, we have 2 more LDs in here. It's a common team I use more often. They had a lot of those Perna Theomar things. I think it's not a bad defense per se, but I would say that the Kiklet in the middle is still probably stronger because you have that fear of being swift. Like the moment that the Kiklet was swift in the middle on this, I would have been in a bad spot, but in current state, I'm not that much in a bad spot. So here I was like, okay, do I actually go for killing or do I go for killing like this? Well, killing like this in the end also works. The Endure buff definitely does kind of help. Like he first has to strip the Endure buff and then it can actually kill. So yeah, Dark Cassandra, kind of an interesting unit, but still really feel like in Siege or in RTA, I mean, it's not that great. But as you have been counting probably, I still have to use a lot of LDs. Well, 3. So those 3 just had to be together in one team, and you just saw the Gianna build. I never used Gianna in Siege for, well, pretty obvious reasons. She's not that great at it. I think that she used to be pretty good with it. I used to use her quite a lot with the Sierra Rogue Gianna team, which was a lot better when the S1s were just way higher on the attack bar increase. At that moment, they were definitely a decent team. But it still could go pretty wrong the moment that you were not landing any of your strips or not landing your stunts and those kind of things. It was still okay-ish because of that much additional damage that you could dish in and the cycling that you had. But in current state, it's really not that good. Is this team by all means any good? No, this team is also bad. Like this was just like the junk that I was scrapped together. I'm like, yeah, I still gotta use my other LDs for this. So yeah, let's do that. I actually use the Light Pony from time to time in Siege normally. It's definitely not a bad Siege unit. Mei Wang is kind of a bad unit. Like this S3 still doesn't do jack shit. He doesn't do any damage. And yeah, the unit just doesn't do nothing. There's so many units that do more. Also, the interesting thing is you have the Dark Monkey right now. I would say that with the coming of the, the Dokupi Lord Water, it's pretty much the same style of unit, but way stronger. So yeah, we got a 10-10 in that. So I used all of my LDs, gotta go out this year with a banger. I didn't really spread out my LDs because I came to the idea of using all of the LDs somewhere along like the lines of like the end of the siege. Thinking if I missed any of my LDs, but I don't think so. I think I used all 12. Maybe I counted wrong. I don't know. Wait, no, I counted wrong. I didn't use Nigong. I used 11. Was that 11? Yeah, I do think so. Fuck, I thought I used all 10. Oh man, I suck. I'm definitely not gonna re-record this video. TME, too much effort. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next year where I will actually do an all LD team thingy, whatever. I still need 3 more LDs and then I can do full LD rounds everywhere in World Guild Battle. So I'm gonna do that, and maybe next year if I'm lucky I get 3 more LDs and then go for that. Or I need 18 more LDs. Hear me out on this one. 18 more LDs and I go Siege full LDs only. Come to us. Next year, let's make that work next year. Would be very nice. I would very much appreciate it. I take all of the shit LDs for those as well. Give me the Dorothy, the Bay, give me all of that shit to fill in the 30 slot. I will go for it. No worries. Come to us next year. Let's see how I can do. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks as always for watching the whole year and everything like that. And see you in the next year. Hope you enjoy your New Year's Eve. Keep all your hands, keep all your fingers, as we say in the Netherlands. Don't drink as much as I would do. Probably. See you later, boys.